It's not easy going it alone. But if you keep going, stay true to yourself, it will be worth it in the end.
October 10th, 2013. It was a Thursday, if I remember correctly, and I was leaving Friday for the Bahamas for a job for China Construction America. And it was a project similar to Atlantis. It was Baha Mar, pretty large project. Would have been the largest one that I had ever been on. It would have been the first time I had to leave the country. But I never made it that Friday. That Thursday I was hit from my right side by a delivery van, and the impact basically amputated my right leg below the knee and smashed my shin and amputated my ankle and foot. At the point of impact, by the time I noticed the van, it was literally within a foot and a half to a foot from me. It was inches from me by the time I noticed it. At impact, what I remember is flying through the air in slow motion, just like in TV, right? Motorcycles in the air beside, flying next to me. And I remember before I even hitting the ground being kind of okay if I died that day, like not happy about it for sure, but like satisfied at the life I had created, right? And, or at least what I had been, the way I'd been living, I was happy with, right? Then as I skid across the ground, still seeing the motorcycle slide past me, kicking up grass in slow motion. When I stopped rolling, I went to get up immediately. That was my immediate reaction. And my right pants leg was draped across my left leg at my thigh area. And my boot that I was wearing was on the ground beside me with my ankle sticking out of it, right? But I remember I didn't want to go into shock. I needed to make it to the hospital. There was a man that held my hand the whole time and talked to me about, I don't even remember everything he said, things like stay calm. First thing I did was grab my rosary and start saying the rosary prayer, because it was repetitive and didn't take a whole lot of thinking. And I wanted to use that tool, one, not to go into shock, right? Two, the words had more meaning at that point in my life than ever before. When you're praying about forgiveness at time of death as you're possibly dying, it's a humbling experience. Do you remember the time that I had the accident?
Yeah, a little bit.
What do you remember?
I remember the night you didn't come home. And I asked Mom where you were, and she said she didn't know. And I remember the day I went to see you at the hospital. And the part I remember is we all got to eat lollipops.
That's a good thing.
And then I saw you, and then I remember we had lunch, but then we left. But then that was nice.
Yeah.
And then I remember days after we had a party because you came home.
I'll take it to my grave. I'll never get that day, the time of day and everything.
The first thing I said was, don't tell me anything. All I want is yes or no answers, and I'm going to ask you a few questions. And the first thing I asked was, is my foot gone? And he said yes. I said, what about my shin? He said yes. I said, what about my knee? Is my knee gone? He said yes. I said, is my whole leg gone? He said no. And that's when I reached down to pat the amputation and realized that it was, at that time, a cut directly through the knee cap area, right? So the kneecap was gone, but my complete femur bone was there at that time. So the next decision I had to make was, do I choose to do no more surgery amputations. And if that was the case, they were going to have to take skin somewhere off my body and do a skin graft that may or may not work, and I may have to have another surgery. Or they said they could do one more surgery and come up just above the femur bone, right? I had to choose to have that last amputation, right? That was difficult. That was not an easy decision to make. I knew I didn't want to have the risk of having another surgery. Like, just stop cutting on me already, you know? Hey, Trinice, isn't that kind of disappointing though, right? Like, the best we can do for amputees is still treat them like we did in the Civil War. Like, the best we can do is hack you up. What?
What's the solution?
What's the solution? Like, it's been an amazing story, so I think what we're trying to focus on is, and help me, Trinice, because I get lost, right? What it's like going through a recovery process, not just for an amputation, but just about all kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
And coming out on the other side the best that you can, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the stages of grief, you do the same thing with the stages of grief that you do with amputation. You know, the denial, the anger, the acceptance, all the emotions, and you go through it just like if you lose a family member. And some people do it in different stages. They do it in different times. You know, they may get through some of them, and then a couple years later, then they get hit by it again. But it's being an amputee is an everyday struggle. My name is Stephen Kramer. I am a prosthetist in Charleston, South Carolina. Clay has a Autobach Triton foot, a X3 Autobach microprocessor knee, and he has a osteo-integrated prosthetic.
I had a big socket like this that I would wear, that my leg would attach to, and it had another plastic liner inside it, and then you'd have to wear another liner, so it added thickness around my leg. And what osseointegration does, you see that for the Christmas story? That's awesome. I want one. So what osseointegration does is I no longer wear a socket. Now I have literally a titanium rod that is drilled into my femur. And yeah, I think even they had amputated again, because when I was coming to see Stephen, my amputation was about right here, so not that much more came off. But yeah, this is what I have now. Any questions on that? Do I have scar tissue? Does it hurt? Does it hurt? You know, you wake up from surgery, you have the pains from the cut and the pains from the muscles where they're cut and reattached. You have those pains when you wake up from surgery. The crazy thing for me was I actually felt the surgery in my sleep a month or so later. I would wake up to the pounding on my leg. It would hurt god awful hard.
Clay wanted to, get up and go. He was interested on how everything worked. How this worked. Could we do this? I wanted to feel this way. And then, and he was a challenge. I try to listen as best as possible to when people want to change things. There are some things where I will go as far as I know that it will work, but usually sometimes I'll say, okay, that won't work, but we can find a way to find happy medium, and that's what we kept on working on with Clay. But his enthusiasm to get better. He really did want to get better. He didn't want to be in the chair, and so he just, I said, it's easier to focus somebody's energy into things that you want them to versus trying to create that energy and get people motivated. And that was the biggest thing with Clay, was there was no lack of motivation for trying something new or working towards something else.
Since meeting my mother and having her in my life, we've talked about everything. His like no holds barred from either one of us. What we both realized is even though it was difficult being adopted and separated from your birth mother and trying to find out where you fit in, like it could have easily been so much worse, you know, with her in her life, and that's something that we can acknowledge. And you know what I mean? Like, it's okay to know that. A lot of decisions I led to try to seek freedom of my soul, right? Like, I don't regret that.
I'm so proud of where he's come to. He's such a good-looking young man. To go through so much and rise above so much crap. And I love him. He's my baby.
Anyway, basically you're just getting to know me, right?
Right, I am.
What do you think? Like if you had to describe to someone what kind of person I was?
I think you're a very honorable young man. You're very intelligent. I'm very proud to call you my son. Even though I didn't get to raise you, but I'm very proud to call you my son. Because you've been through hell and back. And you never let it keep you down. They keep trying to push you back and go, no, you stayed down there. But you always, no, I'm coming, I'm rising above it all. You can't keep me down. Look at the amazing father you've become. I'm very proud of you. I would tell them what a strong man you are in your heart and your soul. Because you are. And you're also good looking. I would tell them how good looking he is. It was Christmas of 1976. We had gone to Albuquerque, New Mexico to visit my grandmother. And I had gone down into the valley to visit some friends. It didn't work out very well. I wanted to go home. So I started walking. There was a little gas station up the road, and I tried to call my cousin several times, have her come pick me up. But I couldn't get hold of them. So I kept walking. This old green Chevy pickup truck, not quite turquoise. So then the guys hollered at me, told them no, go away. And they went up the street and turned around, came around the block. Well, when they turned, I crossed the road. So I wanted to stay because I figured they'd go around coming up behind me. So every time I would see them and they would turn, I cross the road to the other side. Kept going back and forth. One time they finally went far enough that I thought they'd left, but they circled way behind me and pulled up beside me. They had a knife and they told me to get in the truck. So I got in with them. They wanted to know where I was going. I told them I was going up into the heights. That's up in the far west part of Albuquerque, the mountain foothills. And that's where my grandmother lived. They actually took me up to the foothills and they raped me. And I ended up getting pregnant with Clay. Of course, I called him Microwave back then. But he's not Microwave, he is Clay. That's who he is now. He was such a beautiful little baby. Not little, he was a big old boy. Had so much big old head of black hair. He was such a beautiful little baby. I did literally count everything, finger and toe. I held him, rocked him as long as I could. And they came and told me they had to have him back. So they took him, they went away. And it broke my heart. I had to sign the adoption papers that day. But I had no place else to go. I was only 15. I don't believe in abortion for me. I could never do that for myself. I don't judge other people what they can do and what they can't. Because that's their life and their body. It's not for me to judge somebody else. Just myself, I could never do that. So I wanted him to go. I was told that he was being adopted by an older couple in their 30s. And that she was a school teacher. I forget what he did. I thought, oh cool, he's going to a school teacher. She'd be real good with children. I thought I was giving somebody a precious gift because he was a precious gift to me. Doesn't matter how he was conceived, he was a precious gift. Every baby is a gift from God. And he was such a perfect little one. So I thought I was giving him to somebody that would be there and teach him his ABCs and how to ride a bicycle. Give him 3 good meals. And love, go to those Cub Scout games with him, football games, whatever. Would support him. Be kind and loving parents, that's what I expected. I feel very, very, very angry about what he went through growing up. They had a precious gift. I gave them something beautiful, and they tried to turn him into a monster. Thank God he was strong. He has a lot of this strength that my family has. So he was able to pull himself up and out of that mess. I'm very proud of who he is now.
Recovery was a lonely time. Physical therapy came to a point where I wanted to do more than they would allow me to do. And so I got frustrated and quit going to physical therapy. I remember people asking me in my life, like, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? You're not going to your appointments. But what I had started doing is joined a group called Fly Dog Fitness. And I was doing CrossFit training 3 times a day for an hour or more each time. So for 3 hours a day, I was working out. So I would do, right over here, I was doing jumping jacks, push-ups, burpees, crunches. You know, sometimes it'd be over there like where the group is. I remember right here, she would bring her big tires. You know the big tires you work out with? And tie the rope around my waist, and I would drag it down there and back. Yeah, all that stuff, man.
My name's Lori Henderson. I'm from originally Ohio, but now reside in North Charleston, South Carolina. I run a small fitness business. We do fitness boot camps, and I also run kind of corporate trainings through the day. So the fitness boot camps are open to anybody throughout the day. They're like hour-long sessions. Some kind of mix between cardio and strength, and just kind of a killer workout just to make you feeling good.
Tell me about when you first met Clay. What stood out to you?
Well, first of all, I was shocked by his integrity just to come out. And boot camp is not something for everybody. Whether you're fit, unfit, young, old, it's a very challenging place just to come out to because, you're putting your body out there and you put yourself out there and you don't know what's going to happen for an hour. And he just put himself out there and said, hey, I want to try this. I want to do this. And, I don't know what my limitations are necessarily, but hey, I want to be here and I want to do what I can. And so I was like kind of a little surprised and shocked and almost kind of challenged me because I didn't know what to do either. But man, his heart was right in it from the get-go. That was like the biggest thing that I noticed with him was that his heart was in it. And if your heart and your mind's in something, your body can do anything. And that's exactly what Clay showed me from the get-go, from day one.
It was a difficult time for me, and while I was only focused on how difficult this situation was for me, I wasn't necessarily focused on how difficult it was for the people around me. You know, as a supporter of so many people, when you're not there, that affects their life as well, right? So me and my wife had some troubles. There were a lot of financial issues, and it led to a separation between us, right? And that was difficult. More difficult, you can edit this out later because I'm supposed to not be specific, right? Like, keep it moving, but just as difficult is what people who haven't been to see me in over a year, what kind of gossip they were spreading about our separation. That was difficult as well, because it wasn't true. We were just unhappy, you know? So I know that me and your mom separating was difficult, right? What was that like then, and what is that like now?
So,
And you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. We'll go to the next subject.
I'm a little bit uncomfortable talking about it, but I'll talk about it.
Okay.
It was pretty sad for me when I found out that you guys were separating, and like when I realized, I'm like, when, because later the day I left with my mom, I think it was the most important decision so far in my life. And my mother asked, would you like to go with your father or your mother? And I didn't know what to say, honestly, because I was stuck. I was torn. I was like, should I go with my dad or should I go with my mom? And I figured no offense, Dad, I should have gone with my mom because I did, but I figured I should go with my mom because she's going to have trouble later because she is obviously Hispanic and she sometimes can't understand some things, and later I think she might need my help, which is a lot, and I don't mind that, but I help her a lot, which she's happy because she tells me I'm like her teacher and I help her learn. So mostly I think that was like one of the most important decisions in my life, so I decided to go with my mother. And sometimes I think, what would be the difference? What if I chose to stay with my dad? And I think maybe he would have asked, where is your mom? And my mom said, if you pick to stay with your dad, just tell him that I've just gone. And I said, okay, but I choose to go with you. So, I mean, now it's pretty good now, actually. I mean, it's not good, but it's okay. And I understand why they're kind of divorced, but it's okay for me now because, like, I can, like, spend some time with my dad and some time with my mom, and they don't argue, which is some other parents argue a lot, but my parents, I've never seen them argue, and I think they're really nice. So the difference now, I think, would be that since my parents are separated, I don't think that it's anything bad about it, so it's still okay to me because I get to see my dad a lot and I get to see my mom a lot, and I like the summers because I get to spend a week with my mom and a week with my dad, and it's equal, which is what I really like. Because when my parents were together, I got to see them both all together, which was really good for me. But now I think it's still okay because I love my mom and dad, and I get to see them almost equally when they're in school. So I think I don't know.
Love you.
That's good.
It's tough, right? Still love you though. Like I'm going to touch on this because I think it's important. Like when the church was not there because they were thinking something else was going on, and the family was not there because they thought something else was going on. The streets kind of were, right? Like I have friends that do things I don't necessarily condone, right? But they were there when I'm doing well, and they were there when I'm doing bad, and like an unconditional friendship was there, right? So people like this, whether they're in the street or like Father Moretti, right? These are the people I call my brothers, you know? These are the people that get that title from me.
I didn't know Clay was adopted. I didn't know nothing like that. These came later on in life, you know. But when I did find out, it didn't matter, you know. I accepted an individual. I met his brother. I met his sister. You know, I met his stepmom. But what really cut the cake, I met his real mom, which is Mama Sarah right there. You know, and that's what cut the cake. I mean, I think everything is kind of complete now. You know, I think everything is kind of complete now. And I wasn't living a lie, you know. I just went along, you know, with what he told me, you know, and I told my wife and stuff like that until I really told her the real truth. You know, she said, so what, you know? That's Clay. That's Clay. That's your friend. That's your best friend, you know. And she accepted Clay as her son. I mean, he is welcome with open arms whenever he comes here. Whenever he's around me, she feels very confident when Clay is around me.
He never shy away from conversations, and he didn't get offensive. And even when offensive things being said to him or about him. And that made me just kind of like just, whoa. He don't lash back, but he always come up with something clever to counter what anybody might say or do. And I said, well, that's my kind of people. Because I'm the same way too. Because most people who think they know a lot know very little. He's proving to me that he is true to his word. He's a man to his word. And if he gives you his word, bang, he's going to be there. And that you don't find that's a quality you don't find in a lot of people, especially people you just met.
I'm going to let him run right at you, Trinice. Don't get scared, okay?
No way.
Yeah, check it.
Okay. Just have him say
Sammy. Sammy.
But Sammy came into my life, and so I was pretty lonely, right? So Sammy gave me, I don't know, so much, right? Like Sammy gave me like purpose, a reason to get up and take care of myself every day, or at least take care of him, right? I don't know, like I could tell you the story, the story behind Sammy, and then there's what Sammy means to me, right? Like Sammy is my family, my blood family. Me and him have been together pretty much every day the whole 2 years of his life. And we spend those days training, checking proper diet, going to different places. Like we'll go to the mall, we'll go to schools, go to restaurants, just to make sure that he's safe around other people. Because he's monstrous, right? He looks intimidating. And the breed is actually, has lots and lots of restrictions on it. So my biological sister gave Sammy to Danny, and Danny brought it back as her dog, but Danny doesn't live with me full time anymore, right? So it was pretty much up to me to take care of him. And this is a time where I'm depressed and sitting in my house, and about the only thing that gives me any entertainment was listening to music or doing puzzles, right? But as far as getting out of the house, there just wasn't much I could physically do. So during this time of recovery, what I did to pass my time and my days was artwork and puzzles. I had long disconnected my television, right? Like I didn't have TV. First of all, for financial reasons after not working from the accident, right? But then began to enjoy the way I thought without television in my life. But I chose something else. I chose music to listen to, right? And so I'm home alone, and I would spend my day doing puzzles and artwork, and just listening to a variety of music. Thinking a lot about how I could explain my life and my history and I wanted to explain to my children why I was the way I was. You know what I mean? And I really didn't quite know how, because there were a lot of difficult things happening in their lives, right? As a part of being my child. You know, like there was divorce with my ex-wife, and there was my first daughter, Ren, who I was, you know, I mean, just difficult, there were difficult things. And so I began to write a journal, and one night I'm listening to some old school Bone Thugs and Harmony, right? And I was like, you know what? Like they really tell a good story. And then I guess my favorite artist to listen to, right, was Busy Bone. And he had a couple songs, like the group had a song that I really liked a lot that I would play every day called Determination. And that one really helped me get through difficult times, difficult days and nights. Busy Bone had a song with DMX called A Song for You that I really liked. And then I was kind of, after a while, I was craving something new to listen to. And that was about the time that Busy Bone and XL Beats dropped a track called All I'll Ever Know. I really like that one a lot. And while I'm going through all these things, I start to get on Facebook to connect with my mother and my family and people in Australia and the surgeon, and you know what I mean, just became a tool to use. And one day in May of last year, I want to say May 5th or 7th, but I don't really know. I just think it was in May. I was following Busy Bone's I Am Busy Bone official fan page on Facebook, right? And there was a post that he was doing a fan appreciation day. And I was like, I think this is good timing because I think he had just went through a separation and it also had him in court. And so it just seemed like we had a very similar past, right? That we were kind of speaking out on and standing up against in our lives. So I reached out, like, yeah, I'd love to, I'm a fan, make me a song, man, you know. See, that would be a different thing. But this is not even a business. This is just a dream in action, you know?
Yep.
Meditated on this for 3 or 4 years, and now we just wake up, keep smiling, love each other, see what the day brings, and make it happen. Bump into people like yourself. If it works, that's what's up. And if it doesn't vibe with the positive flow, we just let it go.
It's a real passion project.
Yep. Passion project. Yeah. That's what's up.
Put up your lighter. My little niggas put it up a little higher. Too much stress, I'ma need some fire. No, that they will soon expire.
So I liked his page. And like within the first few seconds or whatever, I liked his page. A post came up that Busy Bone was doing features for Fan Appreciation Day, showing love, little promotion for New Waves and all that. And he said all emails will be responded to. And so I emailed my man and was like, that sounds awesome. I don't know, can you tell me more? He emailed me back a little, was not much back and forth. Told him a little bit about myself. He told me a little about himself. Next thing you know, we were doing a song.
Wow.
And yeah, so it was just a song. He gave it to me. And I was like, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I really do. I love you, man. I want to make sure I pay it back, pay it forward as well. Hooked up with XL Beats.
Church stay for their recital. So when she come back, there is new revival. Blessed by the blood of Jesus, yes, he shall not retire.
And he like murdered the sound. Hooked up with Nazi the Siri.
Don't let go. Save me from this misery.
And man, I don't even have to say, she's incredible. And being in the studio when she was recording, powerful.
To help me fall, save me from these chains. Show me now, what's the special place? Don't let go, save me from this misery. What's the special place? Don't let go, save me from this misery.
Like your soul vibrates when she sings, you know. Then we hooked up with TC, and he came and got down on it, and you could hear what the emotion from his voice as well, and deep, real talk.
On my timeline before Christ, I wild out. Google map my past. Please don't take my route. Take your pick. Either way, Willie Lynch, Bloods and Crips under attack. Stop insulting my intelligence. Paul Cuz, William Best on the train with Busy Bo. Even now in LA, real niggas can make it, bro. Drowning like Peter, looking up, reaching to the sky. He pulled me out the water, real tough. Thank you, Jesus Christ.
Real man stuff, Then we came across Ray Pham from the Czech Republic. That's how you say it nowadays, right? So he came in and listened to it and laid down for us a sick version in Czech.
Tvůj sen, tu si za svýma rozdávám úsměv, jdu zeda na obrazovku jak reklama na úspěch. Nesedím půl, nevím jaká je to ta vůně, když jsi nahoře a pořádně ti cvaká ten tvůj účet.
Nazi Nasiri actually changed her language as well to kind of go with the hook.
Jen tma mě znám a proto hledám ní, ukáž mi tvář, to mě tu zachrání. Jen tma mě znám a jsem její součástí.
And nailed it, crazy though. So like you can really see by the artist involved that I am doing my best to pay it forward as well, And please don't let me leave out Lucy Clearwater. Y'all hear the violin on there, that's all Lucy. Strumming her violin and picking on it. It's crazy. Right now we've got the song with Bob Horn, and he's going to do the mastering for us. Everything he does is off the chain, just like everybody on this whole track. Everybody involved is off the chain whenever they do anything. And to have them collaborating together is a real spiritual, mystical thing. Even having you, Jonathan, down here, getting in with us with all your YouTube videos about Bone, it's just like there's no plan. There is a plan. Pay it forward. Don't hurt anybody along the way. Love each other and enjoy the time. That's the plan, the only plan, and it's working like amazingly. Thank you guys. We appreciate you guys. Check out Misery, coming out this fall. We're shooting a video tomorrow. Love you guys.
Of the world that you're in. There is not some other world. It is not for me to tell you what you should have done or not done. The world in which you seek to undo the mistakes that you made is different from the world where the mistakes were made.
Put up your lighter. My little niggas put it up a little higher, Too much stress, I'ma need some fire. No, knows that they will soon expire. The only thing we do is hustle every day, building our empire. These are the days when every single thing that you conspire can be conspiracies and theories to the one expire. It's just a life and a survival, so we use the Bible. I send my boo to TDJ Tuesday for their recital. So when she come back, there is new revival. Blessed by the blood of Jesus, yes, he shall not retire. Kiss me in the liver, take the rip from me, I'm history and plus my flyers. You can see it on the stage, I'm flipping page. I'm a little different, nobody gives it anyway. I've been a lot of places, I've seen so much hatred and I just can't escape it. Hey.
To hell I fall, free me from these chains. Show me now, what's the special place? Don't let go, save me from this misery.
How many people do you know that have a similar story? Talking about their struggles and triumph through purgatory. Talking about the tragedies of all their past lives. Ask why mama had to die, everybody cried. In the mind, another dimension just to cover up it. And these are caught emotions, some of us say fuck it. My younger homie, he was raped when he was only 2. See, this is mind-boggling, moms ain't know what to do. He grew to hate the pain, survived his street days. Got his life together, making millions all the fucking way. You gotta keep your passion and use your strength for good. We call it get your chest up, money on wormwood. Titanic don't panic, spit embers and we make it flow. Even out of wormwood, real niggas can make a boat. Love yourself, this I quote from the one and only Lord of all the East of A. Jesus is still my homie.
To hell I fall. Free me from these chains. Show me now. What's the special place? Don't let go. Save me from this misery.
TC, drunk in the matrix, under the influence. Wherever the promised land is, I'm trying to get to it. Different cities, same jungle, we all been through it. Pace of the fast, like too slow. I got endurance. I take my lumps, bumps and bruises. Life's a bitch, she's real abusive. Spills beans, leaks, news and spreads rumors. I search for peace, but he's elusive. On my timeline before Christ, I wild out. Google map my past, please don't take my route. Take your pick, either way. Willie Lynch, Bloods and Crips under attack. Stop insulting my intelligence. All cuz William Best on the train with Busy Bo. Even out of LA, real niggas can make it, bro. Drowning like Peter, looking up, reaching to the sky. He pulled me out the water real tough. Thank you, Jesus Christ.
Jęczmami znam, a protoledem mnie ukaż mi twarz, to mnie tu zachrani. Jęczmami znam, a jestem jej součástí.
Tu si za svýma rozdávám úsměv, jdu ze dna na obrazovku jak reklama na úspěch. Nesedím půl, nevím jaká je to ta vůně, když jsi nahoře a pořádně ti cvaká ten tvůj účet. Nechci slyšet, že to nejde, nemám čas na výmluvy. Dávno vím, že musíš mlkat víc, jak tomu i míň mluvit. Nechci se víc chlubit, nikdo neví, co tohle stálo víc. Si ten kopec boss a bez bod vyhrát tenhle závod. Nikdo mi nevěřil, když jsem řekl, že si procent titul dojdu sám. Proto se teď každej diví, že tu stojím, titul mám. Na to nedosáhnu rukama, slovem si vydupám. Dávám ti návod, jak přežít a to ve 3 minutách. Klidně ti dám, co stačí se domluvit na datu. Sleduj, jak ve světě dávám to svoje kladno na mapu. Hodil jsem se jako ten, co pro ně byl to špatný dítě. Dívej se, jak jim zavřu hubu, když skončím jako vítěz.
To hell I fall. Free me from these chains. Show me now. What's a special place? Don't let go. Save me from this misery. To hell I fall. Free me from this misery. Show me now. Show me now. Don't let go. Save me from this misery.
I want to dedicate this song to my brothers.
Don't let go.
You remember when you was up the road and I took care of that thing for you? Don't worry, it don't exist anymore. Gone but never forgotten. My children are named after you.
I don't mean to offend you, but the afflicted men often find themselves at a place removed from the realities of life.
Don't let me
I love you, brother.
You're now at the blessing, and you want to choose, but there is no choosing. There's only accepting. The choosing was done a long time ago.